Hello Ram fan, my name is Jeff Garner and welcome again to this week's edition to Inside Cleveland Rams Football. This week, like every week this season, we'll be talking about this past Friday night's game as well as the upcoming opponent. As always, I'm joined by head coach Mr. Scott Riley. Scott, welcome again. Appreciate you coming.
Thanks for having me.
Tough one this week, Coach. Rams dropped to 1-1 on the season against a very strong Garner Trojan team from the Greater News 4A Conference. Final score 56-19. It was a home opener for the Trojans and the first to be played at that new South Garner campus, which I thought was immaculate. They did a great job, I think, putting on the game. Give me your initial thoughts after the game.
Well, obviously it was a tough one, following the way we did and getting so far behind. Thought the kids did a great effort, and Garner's going to be a special team this year and play deep into the playoffs.
They definitely are. I mean, they're always strong. Coach Leach, obviously has put together another, very strong, and I think more well-rounded Garner team. Not that they haven't been well-rounded in the past, but I thought they, again, showed it from all aspects of the game. So I agree with you. I think they're going to go a long way this year. But I really thought that the real story of the game, Coach, was that Trojans defense. Although the Rams had a great first drive, they actually scored on the first drive. It was a 51-yard touchdown from Caden to Jake Scott. The Trojans held the normally potent Ram offense to only 151 total yards. It was 102 through the air. I get 49, I think, on the ground. Got to give that Trojans defense a lot of credit.
It's a special group. They did a lot of things most teams can't do to us. They play a lot of man coverage and across the board and brought a lot of pressure. And you combine those things, and it was a good game plan for what we do. Most teams don't have the cover guys to do that because we have so many talented receivers, but they had enough talented cover guys to get the job done, and they did a great job with it.
Absolutely, and up front, I mean, you mentioned it. I mean, they do play a lot of single coverage there in the defensive backfield, but as you mentioned, they put a lot of pressure up front, especially that D-line. One in particular, Matthew Butler. Mr. Butler has been he's been recruited or being recruited by numerous colleges across the country as is deserving as he is. He seemed to be causing a whole lot of issues for the O-line. I think he forced Caden outside the pocket. Had to get him outside the pocket a little bit. Forced a few quick throws. What kind of pressure or what kind of different things was Butler and that D-line doing? That caused that pressure in the backfield.
It was the whole box. The whole front did a great job of bringing pressure. By bringing linebackers, the O-line had to pick up some of those guys. It created situations where Butler is isolated one-on-one, which is a good matchup for Garner. But the whole box, I thought, did a great job getting off the ball, really getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they're able to do that because of that. Those cover guys in the end. They allow those guys to cover one-on-one, which again against the Rams is usually not a good situation because we can get those players open. But they did a great job, I think, across the board. The D-line, the linebackers, and the defensive backs. We also talked a lot last week, Coach, about taking care of the ball. Rams didn't turn the ball over at all last week against Clayton. I think that was a big reason for the result that we had. Unfortunately, this week it was a little different. We actually had a few turnovers, a couple pick sixes actually, one by Colin Eady, another by Andreas Harris. As we said, Trojans get all the credit. They did a fantastic job. They get the credit. But I think you'll agree with me. We've got to do a better job, a good job of taking care of the football.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to give Garner the credit there. They created those turnovers.
Absolutely.
It wasn't mishandling the ball or those kind of things. They really created turnovers. So all the credit goes to them. We were +3 last week and won by 2-3 scores. This week we're -1 and we lost by a lot more. So obviously taking care of the ball and not creating as many turnovers as we did the week before hurts us. And turnovers can hurt you depending on where they're on the field and what happens as a result. But
flips the field if nothing else.
All 3 turnovers resulted in scores, 2 directly. And then the other one got returned, I think, like the 5-yard line. So, and that led to a touchdown, I think 2 plays later. So, 21 points right there off a turnover is something you can't survive. I don't know if it would have made a difference this Friday, but that's something we got to clean up going forward.
I mean, that short field, again, anytime you shorten the field like a turnover does, even in special teams, again, I think Garner did a fantastic job. That their kicker put the ball in the end zone almost every time, if not every time, I can't recall. But that again forces the Rams to go, that full length of the field on offense. But again, you turn that ball over, makes that short field, makes it very difficult.
Yes, so. Yeah, it does.
So unfortunately for the Rams D, it was somewhat of an opposite story. Although I didn't think, in my opinion, I didn't think that Garner had a huge offensive night against us. I mean, we've had worse nights. Let's put it that way. Again, turnovers had a big part of it. They did score on defense. I didn't think they had a huge offensive night. They did rush for over 200 yards against us. I think it was 207 to be exact. I think they had 23 attempts, and they had another 144 through the air. It was a total of 351 yards. How do you think our Rams defense looked overall?
I actually think we looked better. I know we gave up more points.
Yeah, I would agree.
We did the week before.
Agree.
The kids did a great job fitting up in the gaps they're supposed to, doing their assignments. Still too many missed tackles, but that's something we're continuing to work on. And with the rules the way they are, you can't tackle in the off season. Mm-hmm. You see some of these. It used to be the opposite. You'd see low-scoring games early as offenses were getting in sync, but I think now you see more of the high-scoring games early in the year as teams are getting used to tackling. So that's something now that we can tackle more often in practice. We'll get better at. I thought the kids played hard, and the players were in the right position. We just didn't always make the tackle where we needed to. And that's something we got to get better at.
And you mentioned that in week one that tackling. The practice of tackling, the technique of tackling is something that you're not able to practice as much, and I think it did show itself a little bit this past Friday night. But again, I agree with you overall. I think the Rams defense looked better, even like I said, the score didn't reflect that. I think the Rams defense actually did look better overall.
Yeah, and then they had 2 late scores on us, and we were out of position, miss a line. We had a couple of players, one go out with an injury and a couple of cramps and things like that, and shuffling people around in places they weren't used to being led to some of those assignments. That's something the coaching staff will fix and get right for next week.
Speaking of injuries, did we come out of the game clean? Did we? I know I saw a couple of shoulders, I think maybe, or some bruises, that kind of thing. Did we come out clean?
We got one player that got hurt in the game, didn't return. We won't know until they go to the doctor and figure out if they're coming back or not. But something we'll find out probably.
Right. Well, like I said, on a night that may not have reflected it, there were several positives, I think, many positives that came out of the game. And in your post-game comments after the game, I thought you said it best. And again, I'm going to quote you here. It says, "There's not one person sitting right here in front of me who I have any question about their effort tonight." You also said, "When I watched, every single one of you on that field tonight were trying their best." So that's got to make you feel good moving forward in this season, that regardless of the scoreboard, whether it be up or down or whatever, you've got guys that's giving 100%, giving their all. That's got to make you feel good moving forward.
Yeah, it's kind of the mantra of Cleveland football. No matter what's going on in the field, we're going to give great effort and play hard. And we've over the years developed a reputation of having some big comebacks and those kind of things, and that's a direct result of that kind of attitude. We didn't have the big comeback, but I saw that effort all the way through the game, regardless of the score. Our kids were trying their best, and that's something you really can't teach. You just got to implore upon them, and you're pleased when you see it. So that's a positive to draw from.
I was obviously on the sideline myself. I mean, I never saw a down face. I never saw heard a down comment. Again, I was very impressed with the team. Again, they felt horrible, obviously, as they should. As I would hope they would, but again, I think I would agree. I think they gave their all. I think they were proud of the effort. Again, felt horrible about it, but and I thought something was very interesting after the game, Coach. You actually put this game and this loss on your shoulders, on the coach's shoulders. You actually said our best wasn't good enough tonight. You said when you meant the players, play that hard, and we, meaning the coaches, we've got to put you in the position to win. And I personally thought that spoke a lot of you. I thought it spoke a lot of the coaching staff. I know that's very true, and that came from the heart. And I think the players actually heard that, So, I thought they felt terrible about it. I think they appreciated that. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, I think that's typically the case. Is players win games and the coaches are the ones that lose them. But I really do believe that, and I think the kids played hard, and we learned a lot as a coaching staff coming back and watching the film, and things we'll do differently when we play them again next year. Fortunately, some of those guys graduated, so we don't have to play the exact same.
May not see some of those again.
But Garner's going to be Garner, so
yes.
we learned some lessons, and we'll grow from it.
And it is. It's a team effort, and that includes the coaches. Again, I think everyone can learn, from a loss or a win, and we'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute too, as well. But another comment you made post game I thought was very important. And you said that would be a shameful score if you didn't show the effort, but we got to forget it. And we got to improve from it. And again, I think that's very important for a couple of reasons. Main reason is, regardless of a win, regardless of a loss, how it turns out, whether the score is, you got to forget it. You got to learn from it, obviously, from either side of a win-loss column, and you got to prepare for the next week. If you linger too much on the prior week, it's going to hurt you.
Absolutely. We always tell them, win or loss, after Friday night, let it go. Wake up Saturday morning, we're 0-0 again, and start all over. And that's definitely the case. We can't let the bad things that happen linger and move forward, because we have a long season, and the way the playoffs work, you get to drop a loss. So,
yes.
If we take care of business from here on out, we're still undefeated.
Absolutely.
in the eyes of the seeding playoffs. But so you can't dwell too much on one game.
But again, I think regardless of a win or loss, but playing a team like a Garner, and we've got maybe a few of those kind of games coming later on. Again, learn from it. It may expose a couple of areas, but those are things that you need to know now. So you can improve upon them, get better from them, and like I said, get ready, for those playoffs, hopefully those playoffs, and again, definitely those conference games that's coming later on.
Yeah.
So. All right, so Coach, as we do each week, we're going to take a minute to take a look at a few highlights from this past week's game. Let me pull those up here. And obviously that first one, Coach, again, was that first touchdown. That's the 51-yard throw from Norman, the senior wide receiver, Jake Scott.
Yeah, we decided to put the offense on the field first after we won the toss. We thought we had better matchups on that side of the ball. Turns out not necessarily be the case, but that's what we were thinking, and we thought a hot start would get us going in the right direction, and we got that. Garner made some good adjustments off of this. They switched their corners, 5 and 3 switched, and 3 drew Jacob Scott the rest of the night, and he did a great job with coverage on him after this play.
It was a great start. It really got the team fired up over there on the side. I think it actually got Garner fired up a little bit as well. But again, I thought it was a great play, a great start, to a game against this kind of a storied opponent. So. Next play, Coach, we're actually going to move over to the defensive side of the ball, and this is actually one of my favorite plays. It actually highlights 2 Ram defenders. This is a 3rd and long that Garner has. The Trojan quarterback goes back to pass. Junior defensive end number 44, Jordan Harper, puts a lot of pressure right in the quarterback's face, forces him outside of the pocket, and then Jonathan Kisner, number 40, he comes along and maybe lays the lumber, maybe the hit of the game.
Yeah. Did a great job getting under the coverage. He got under his receiver, saw him break contain. His rule when he breaks contains to come and contain that quarterback. I'm not sure if the quarterback saw him coming here. I know his eyes are probably downfield, so that's a big sack, and it forced a fumble. Unfortunately for us, the ball rolled out of bounds. So it was one of those nights where the breaks just weren't going our way either, on top of everything else. And we had 2 other balls get on the ground. We ended up with 2 turnovers, but having 2 more on the ground and we didn't get just the roll of the ball.
It would have been nice to have been able to pick that ball up, but again, that was
big hit.
That was a huge hit. Okay, we stay on the ground. on the defensive side of the ball again. This play, Coach, this is junior linebacker number 32, Janathan Coward, with the big interception.
Yeah, 4th down here. We were probably thinking more run than pass, but he does a great job of reading the pass and getting up underneath the tight end in the flat, which is his assignment there. loses his foot and falls down there. Actually, it's one of those things. You never know what's going to happen. But
Absolutely.
Fourth down, you get an interception out in the front. You think you'll be out there running, but actually lose 2 yards by catching it rather than dropping it. But obviously we wanted to catch it there because there's no one in front of him.
Certainly.
But just lost his foot in there. But a great play by
absolutely
by Nathan.
Big play. We actually move across the ball back to the offensive side this time, Coach, and probably one of the best touchdown catches that we'll see this year. And this is by junior wide receiver number 81, Griffin Duck.
Yeah, obviously a good throw, putting it only where Griffin could catch it. Griffin does a great job of getting the foot in bounds as he's going out and controlling the ball. Yeah, I was actually over there on that sideline, and I saw the ball leave Norman's hands, and I thought there's no way he's going to catch that. It's over his head, and it was one heck of a catch. Yeah, Griffin has some extraordinary hands, and he displayed that last weekend, this week for us. Absolutely. Final play here, Coach. Again, this is offensive side of the ball. This was a nifty touchdown scamper from sophomore running back number 4, Tyson Duke. Yeah, Tyson, obviously being a sophomore up on varsity, we think a lot of him, and he's got great vision there and the explosion to get in. Again, I know having those young guys step up and do some of the things that we need them to do is always special. All right, Coach, thanks a lot. We appreciate that. We hope Ram fam, you're enjoying those highlights. Before we get to next week's game, Coach, this is, again, always going to be my favorite part of the show. Your Player of the Week awards. Who you got for me this week? For the Offensive Player of the Week, we went with Jacob Scott. Kind of easy decision. He had over half of the offense.
Absolutely.
A big chunk of it came on that first drive, that 51-yard touchdown, but he had 2 other 20-plus catches. So, 3 big catches and gained most of our yards. Yes. For us. Outstanding effort from Scott. Yes, and then on the defensive side, the defensive lineman and the lineman of the week goes to TJ Nauman. He did a great job, drew a lot of double teams, split them, and didn't get moved off the ball, and made quite a lot of the quiet plays, the dirty plays that no one noticed. He played a great game. Absolutely. That first fumble on the first play of the game for Garner, he knifed in there and caused that one. Really could have, we're up 7-0, and if we get that fumble, that gets momentum going our direction. Don't know if it makes a difference or not, but it would have been nice to see. I did. I saw a lot of him drawing a lot of double teams. Again, I don't think I won't say it didn't make a difference, but again, he put the effort through. I think that's a great choice. He was a strong contributor to what the defense did. And then another double winner, the Special Teams Player of the Week and our Scout Team Player of the Week goes to James Martinez. We punt out of our offense, and you don't expect the tackle to be the one sprinting down the field 60 yards, and he got in several tackles and he recovered one of their fumbles. Absolutely, he did. That kind of led to our second score, so it was a big play for us. And we also had some injuries from our kickoff team. We subbed him there on kickoff, and he ran down there and made a kickoff. So he was 1 for 1 on kickoff as well. So he's our Special Teams Player of the Week. And he did a great job all week. We actually moved him to tight end to scout for us. One of their defensive ends that create a lot of pressure also plays tight end, and he did a great job of scouting that for us all week as well. And then the last award is the Program Player of the Week. We don't have a single winner for this. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more individualized when we get into school. Yeah. But the program goes to all the senior class. One thing we do with the seniors is they all have a mentor team, so they kind of have a draft. They pick players and they mentor them as they go through the year, and they have rewards based on their GPA and those kind of things. So getting school started on Wednesday after practice, all the seniors met with their mentors, and I gave them. I said, as soon as you guys are done meeting, you can head on to the locker room, get out of here. And, what you don't want to see is them just say, all right, begin school and get out of there. And I thought the seniors did a great job. Some of them met within 15, 20 minutes really talking about things that they can do in the classroom to excel. So the program goes to the whole senior class. And that's a great. Taking some leadership in that role. And again, that program award, I think you mentioned it as probably your favorite award. Again, it works across the board. It's not just on the football field. You got to take care of business outside. You got to take care of business. Again, as you said, we got school starting on Monday. You got to take care of business in the classroom as well. Yes, absolutely, and that's what we're here for. And is to have student athletes, and they take that part of it seriously. Absolutely. All right. Well, again, I've had the opportunity to meet with a few of these players, so take a look at that right now.
Hey Ram fam, listen, here with a couple of our players of the week this week. Thanks for being here, guys. I got senior wide receiver Jacob Scott. Jake, thanks for being here. Offensive player of the week this week. Half the yards on offense we had this week. 320 plus yards catches. You had 4 for 100 and a touchdown. Congratulations. Tell me about it a little bit.
Well, coach just put me in a good spot to make the plays, and when he called the play, I just made the play. But I couldn't do it without the team. Everybody did the right thing at the right time.
We had a little tough week this week, obviously, but again, I thought offense did well. You definitely had a whale of a game. You're getting ready to play a different team this week. What do you think about practice this week and the game coming up?
I think the first 2 days of practice we had so far, we were practicing good. And I feel like we keep practicing like this, practicing fast pace, they won't have a chance at all.
Great.
We'll be ready for the speed.
Hey, congratulations. I'm sure I'll be here with you a bunch. Thanks a lot. All right, I'm here with senior defensive end TJ Nauman. TJ, we appreciate it. Again, Coach Riley actually nominated you as the defensive player. You're a dual winner this week, okay? Defensive player of the week and the trenches player of the week. Trenches being the best offensive or defensive lineman, so you got that one, but you got the overall defensive player of the week. What I saw and what Coach Riley saw, again, you were double teamed all day long. You split a bunch of those, caused a fumble that was picked up. Again, you were all over the field. Tell me about it.
Coach teaches me to go full speed and go for the ball, so that's what I've been doing. I've been working on this year. I didn't have one forced fumble all last year, and I've been working just to get 4 forced fumbles, and I'm 2 for 2. I'm going for a fumble every game.
So you're shooting for a full team's worth, right?
Yeah.
Full year's worth. Fantastic. Well, listen,
every game.
Got Garner was tough on us or whatever. And not saying that Apex is not going to be a big opponent, because they are. They're going to be fired up. It's a new squad. It's a new team. It's a new field and all that kind of thing. Tell me about your thoughts this week and with the game coming up.
For me personally, it's revenge.
There you go. They're gonna feel a little revenge, maybe.
Yeah, it's time for me to smack somebody.
I hear you. Hey, TJ, congratulations. I'm sure I'll be here with you a bunch this week. Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you.
All right, cool. Hey, Ram fan, again, senior tackle James Martinez. James, Coach Riley actually nominated you this week for the special teams. You're a dual winner this week, special teams and scout team player of the week. Special teams, for obvious reasons, sprinting down the field on kickoff coverage, punt coverage, making tackles, recovered 2 fumbles. I mean, you were all over the field with special teams, and again, that's one of the areas that is, I think, overlooked a lot of times. It's extremely important. Tell me about your week on special teams this week.
Well, like you said, a lot of it's overlooked, and a lot of people don't care about it. They figure it's the end of the drive, we got to punt it. We already lost, but I mean that's whenever it's most important. And on kickoff, a lot of the guys kind of jogging down. I think they're a little bit afraid of the opponent, because Garner's a big name. But a lot of the young guys are scared, and I got to be here to show them that you can't be scared of nobody. So I mean, you got to do everything you can, be there every time I can. I'll make the play if I can.
And I tell you what, I mean, I don't know the stats or whatever, but I just about guarantee you the majority of turnovers that we have gotten in years past and probably this year will be on special teams. For that very reason, getting popped, running down the field, making hustle plays. That's when you recover that ball.
Yes, sir.
Now, also too, scout team player of the week. Coach Riley was talking about in preparation this week. You actually had you at some tight end, because the Garner tight end, that defensive end plays some tight end there, that kind of thing. So he actually had you mimicking that. I think that did a whale of a job for us, covering that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, he told me at the beginning of the week that I was going to need to be on the scout team, and because they had a really good tight end. And I've always dreamed of playing tight end, never got my chance. So figured out my week, and it's really important for the defense, because they have to have somebody, even though I might not be as good as him, they have to have someone that's going to be as close as they can, and I try to give them everything I can out here.
Well, he
was where it starts.
He was extremely appreciative of that, and like I said, you did a great job. Congratulations on a great week. We got another big one coming up. It's a different kind of team. Obviously, it's not that a historic franchise kind of like Garner is, but as I was saying, they're going to be fired up. They're going to be ready. It's a brand new team, brand new fans, all that kind of stuff. Tell me about your plans for this week.
Well, like you said, I mean, it's not exactly the same. They're not a big rivalry. They're not a real big school yet. They don't even have a senior class. But there was a time when we didn't have a senior class, and people came out and underestimated us, and they really
paid the price.
They paid the price.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not real worried, but I am kind of worried. Not as much about them, but about us, because I don't want to underestimate them. But I'm gonna try to be everything I can, particularly for the young guys again, you know, because they're the ones that are gonna try to underestimate them. And I don't like to be easy with anybody, you know. So, well.
All right, thanks. Now we're going to take a look. We're going to move ahead to look at week 3. The Rams are back on the road again this week, Coach. It's a bit of a different situation from week 2. Instead of the Rams, heading to this, storied, historic program like a Garner, we're actually heading to a brand new program in that of the Patriots of Apex Friendship High School. They play in the Southwest 4A Conference, and that includes teams like Middle Creek and Green Hope and Fuquay. So, they got a tough road to hoe, so to speak. In just that, and they're a program without a senior class right now. But you touched on the fact in our post-game comments again this past Friday night's game, Coach, that Cleveland knows a lot about being a new program, just like Apex Friendship is. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, there are some similarities. There'll be the first varsity home game for the Patriots, and but yeah, we've been in those shoes, having that first year, with no seniors. But the one thing I wanted our kids to realize is that doesn't mean they're a bad football team. I think we won 11 games that first year and went to the Eastern Finals. And one thing that a lot of people outside of high school football programs don't realize is there's not a huge physical difference between a junior and a senior. Obviously, there's an experience difference and a coaching experience and how much they've had in the program. One benefit we thought in the way the Friendship has done their program the same way we did ours is just having a JV team that first year. Right. They get a little more attention than a typical JV team does. So those juniors that are going to be, they got a lot more coaching last year as sophomores than the average sophomore on JV would have. So they're a junior age-wise, but they probably have experience or they've been coached up as much as many seniors have. So it's not as big a disadvantage as some players might think going in. So just want to make sure they're aware of that kind of thing. And like I said, I think teams had, looking back on it, again, I was obviously here during those times as well, great times. I think teams underestimated it just a little bit, and so we got to be careful of that. Yeah, absolutely. So we got to take the game just like if they had seniors on their team or not. And we don't have a lot of seniors, and I think they start 5 sophomores on offense, and we have 5 sophomores on defense. So there aren't that many dissimilarities there. It's going to be a good football game and we have to play well to win.
Again, Cleveland knows all too well that season, carrying around that underdog tag. Again, I'm not talking spreads or anything like that, but I would think that Friendship would consider themselves the underdog tag, and Cleveland was in that situation. So how does that type of history in our program help you to prepare the Rams for a game of this nature?
Well, they're going to be excited to play. The first time they played at Holly Springs High School, their first game against Northeast Carolina Prep, and won big there. So now their field's ready to go for them. So they're going to be excited to be there. One thing I thought the Cleveland Rams did well in 2011 that year was protect their home turf. I think they only lost 1 home game the whole season, and it was new, and it was something we were trying to protect. So I'm sure they'll be doing the same thing, and they're not going to give up easy, and we'll have to play our best to get a win.
As you said, the Patriots actually won their first game 46-12 over Northeast Carolina Prep. Adam Sanders, he takes over the helm as the head coach for the Patriots. He was actually a head JV coach a couple previous locations. It was Chapel Hill and Holly Springs. He was also Chapel Hill's offensive coordinator and associate head coach 2 years ago, and the Tigers went all the way to the 3AA East Finals that year. So, Coach Sanders is not is no stranger to winning football. So, from what I know about Sanders' Chapel Hill days, he ran a lot of no-huddle, fast-paced offense similar to what the Rams do. So, do you see that continuing at Friendship?
Yeah, they're in gun. One thing that's hard for us to tell from film is you don't know what's going on between clips. You don't know. There could be 20 seconds between a clip or 15, so we don't know how fast-paced they're going to be because we haven't seen them play in person yet. We're obviously going to prepare for them to be an up-tempo, fast-paced team because it's always easier to slow down than it is to speed up. So So we'll be prepared for that. But yeah, they're a spread team. They run the ball just a little bit more than they pass it, but they're fairly balanced. And Coach Sanders does a great job with that.
Does it make a difference how you prepare for an offense that resembles a lot of your own? Are you able to prepare better or worse, or does it really make a difference?
I don't know if it matters in like the planning and that far of the preparation, but what it does help in is the scouting of the offense, because if you play a wing T team with a tight end and 2 wings, you don't necessarily have those players on offense to simulate that. So you have to make a receiver a tight end that week and things like that. But being a spread team, we have the players to plug in and kind of simulate what they're going to do on offense. So the scouting part of it will be easier for us.
Now, how about from a defensive side? What should we expect from the Patriots this week?
They're a 4-man line. Pretty good. Their defensive coordinator was at Western Harnett 2 years ago, so we've played against the defense before, that kind of scheme, and they're going to be well coached, and they're pretty formidable on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I think it's going to be a very exciting ball game, Ram fan. We're going to need you in the house. Again, that's this Friday night, September the 2nd. The Rams head to the town of Apex, take on the Patriots of Apex Friendship High School. Kickoff is again at 7 p.m. Coach, that's a Wake County start. So again, 7 p.m. start. With a new program, as Coach Riley alluded to, that the Patriots fans are going to be fired up. They're going to be packing the house for that first game. So we're going to need your support there as well, Ram fam. As always, we'll be right here next week. We'll be talking about that game. We'll also be talking about the following week's opponent, and that's going to be crosstown county rival West Johnson. So that's going to be a big game for us. Again, we're not looking ahead by any stretch, but again, that's going to be a big one for us. So, Coach, we thank you again for your time this week. Any final comments?
Nope. We look forward to seeing you guys there, and it's another 7 p.m. kickoff, so it'll be a little bit earlier than we're accustomed to at home. So.
All right. Well, good luck to you as always, Coach. We'll be there following every play. Tune in next week, Ram fam, and as always, go Rams. We'll see you next week.